Okay, either you guys are really angry or you're really curious. Just please hear me out before you start getting angry. Just hear me out, okay? Let me ask you one question. Why would you place your hard-earned money in the bank if the interest rate is below inflation? And if you guys don't know what inflation is, it's basically the cost of living. For example, our interest rates now, they vary, all right? Depending on the bank you go and all that. The highest saving interest rates, they can go up to 2%, whereas the standard is like 1.6. But that's like the special interest rate in which you got to give money occasionally and things like that, all right? Inflation currently is 1.8. And if inflation is higher than the interest rate, you're essentially losing money. And if you still don't get this, I want you to picture $100 30 years ago. You could get a lot of things with that much money, but now picture $100 now, after 30 years ago. The value has dropped. It's because the Reserve Bank keeps printing and printing and printing money. That's what happens. So $100 then was worth a lot compared to now. And that's what I'm trying to get through. A better option, in my opinion, would be investing in ETFs. Right? So if you don't know an ETF, I'll leave a link down here, but basically it's called an exchange traded fund. So it's like a company that buys stocks and diversifies its portfolio. So one of the ETFs I got has a percentage of ownership in Apple, Adobe, Nike, Nvidia, Netflix. So it sort of spreads it out, which, de-escalates the risk, say if one of them goes bankrupt. And I think this is a much better alternative, because in the banks you're getting 1.6% return. In some of these dividends you're getting 3% returns annually, which is really good. Really good compared to 1.6, which I think it's nothing. And some people may be seeing a skeptical thing of the stock market, crashes and crashes. Like, I can just show you this graph, okay? The stock market, okay, sure that it's gone down a bit. However, historically it's always gone up. It's always going to go up. Okay, there may be crashes, recessions, things like that. In economics, it's called correction, all right? But it always goes back up. It always will. It always has to go back up. But say, even if you're more skeptical, okay, I understand this. There's another alternative. That is bonds. Bonds are sort of like that, but compared to ETFs, they're backed up by the government, meaning they're insured by the Australian government. Say if something's go haywire, the government has your back, unlike ETFs. So if you're more skeptical, I suggest you go with bonds, alright? And you can find a wide array of bonds. There's many different types. However, they have a much greater return than banks. I can assure you that. Just to give you guys a visual example of what I'm talking about, I'm on finder.com right now. I'll leave a link below. But what I'm looking through is for the top 10 or the top high interest saving accounts. So if you come down here, you'll see you've got UBank, AMP, Rabobank, Suncorp. I won't be going through all of them. I'll just be going through a few of them, but you'll understand what I mean. Okay, let's start off with Westpac, one of the big four banks. Okay, many people sign up with them. It's safe. They got security. It's nothing like that. Out of the 400 lenders in Australia, all of them are secure. Okay, so if you come down here, you see it's 1.66 per annum for the first 5 months. It's only for the first 5 months. Otherwise, you give me a standard variable rate of 0.10%. And 0.10%, like, I don't even want to do the maths. That's nothing. So we can scratch that off. Now, this is the top bank rated by Finder and even Canstar. So it's really good. So what do they offer? The standard variable rate is 1.04%. That's pretty good. But most small banks, excluding the big four, they offer similar sort of rates, which is good. But however, if you add up the variable bonus rate, which you get by depositing at least $200 a month, you get 210 interest rate. So you get 210 per annum, which is really high. And the thing with this is there's no withdrawal fees, anything along that. So unlike in ANZ, where you get a 1.6 per annum interest rate, which is alright, and you only have to deposit $10 more, which anyone can easily do. However, there's many transaction fees associated, like staff assisted transactions, and you got electronic transactions, which sort of negates the effect of it. So if I close that, I'll show you another example. This is Rabobank. Rabobank's been doing as well, really well recently. And it's just 2.5 per annum, which sounds really good, on the first $5 to $250,000. But if you go down here, you see it's only a 4-month additional variable rate of 1.45%. And the standard variable rate is just 1.05%, which is just 0.01% higher than UBank. And the thing with that is there's no minimum balance, and there's no account keeping fees, which is good. So it's like either you take one over the other. So this is another good option as well. And if I bring up to AMP Saver account, which was listed here as well, yep, the second one after Ubank, is they offer an honeymoon introductory rate of 2.36% per annum for 4 months. Then it's 1.40%, which 1.40% compared to ANZ I think is pretty good as well, because you have to keep putting $10 a month, and not everyone wants to do that. However, you can look on the other side and say $10 a month is nothing. Anyone can do that. Before I wrap this video up, I just want you guys to understand, I'm not against emergency funds. We need them, but why would you put your hard-earned money? You want your money to, work for you, not the other way around. So why would you leave it in the bank if it's not producing enough results? Okay? And an emergency fund comes in handy. For example, you get sick, unemployed. However, sure, you won't have money in your emergency fund, but if you have a right superannuation fund, that can cover for these two factors I mentioned. So I'll leave a video on how to pick a superannuation fund as well. Otherwise, an emergency fund sort of becomes useless if you have the right super fund. For instance, say death cover, illness, unemployment, things like that. So you're covered. That's what I want you guys to gauge from this video as well. So just check out that superannuation video on how to pick super. And that's all for me today, folks.